Greetings, Tezos Nation. Welcome to another edition of TezTalks Live. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today is Beata Lipska, Developer Relations Engineer at Trilitech. Trilitech, for those who might not know, is the London-based team dedicated to developing and elevating new ideas built on the Tezos ecosystem. Beata is joining us today to talk about several recent announcements and developments here in the Tezos ecosystem, including Tezos X, Justice, and Etherlink, and how these are making Tezos even more appealing for developers. Hi, Beata. Where are you right now?
Hey,
How's the weather?
don't ask about the weather. It's supposed to be summertime and it's kind of miserable here in London and it's raining and it's very gloomy. So,
I'm sorry
yeah,
to hear
well,
that.
yeah, proper English summer.
Fair enough. To get the ball rolling, can you tell us a bit about your background and your personal journey into the exciting world of blockchain technology?
Yeah, sure. So my background, I think it's worth mentioning that I used to be a full-time teacher and I really enjoyed it. And back in my motherland, Poland, I was proud teacher for techie geeks, and was teaching web applications, programming, etc. But when I decided to immigrate to UK, my journey was pretty much tech related. So I think it's worth mentioning that I used to be IT support for a little bit of time, and then I switched to software engineering career, and I worked in fintechs in London. But yeah, working on the back end is not very, let's say, satisfying for me because I was missing that human aspect.
Mm.
So yeah, I think switching to DevRel career was one of the bravest decisions I've ever kind of made, and I don't regret because having that opportunities to talk to people, having conversations like this is very very satisfying for me. Even like I still work closely with code. It's very balanced now for me in the right way. It was very imbalanced when I worked as a full-time software engineer. So yeah, um that's kind of my background.
Well, balance is always the goal, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I understand you joined the Trilitech team about a year ago.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about what attracted you to the Tezos ecosystem in the first place?
um So, my previous job was also Web3 job because I think several jobs in Web3 are definitely one of the most crucial ones. And then when I realized that, okay, it's a full-time remote job, I kind of wanted to address the fact that, all right, I'm very lonely and I am very kind of sad. I know it's not the best reasoning, but when I saw that Trilitech is hiring for several job with the office, and then I looked at Tezos ecosystem, and I realized that it's very focused on art as well because I'm an artist by heart. Of course, I'm not like a full time artist, but I am quite creative person, and I thought that okay, so they got office, they got very vibrant community, and a lot of women because it's I think the fact that one of the co-founders is a woman, so I was like, all right, this is all the ticks are ticked, so
Mm.
let's give it a go. And I remember the process of hiring, and exactly a year ago during TestDev, I was interviewed by Arthur, and next year, look at me now. I was on the stage during TestDev, and so I knew I had that gut feeling that it's a good place to thrive and it's a good place to be. And I go to the office at least 3 times per week. I enjoy being with my people. So it's a great experience. So that was kind of the main reasoning why I decided to join Tezos.
Okay. And you touched on a few things that were appealing about Trilitech itself, i.e., being in an office with actual other human beings, the fact that they have a large number of women on their staff. Um, was there anything about Trilitech and its brand and what it does outside of that that made it seem like an appealing landing place for you?
Um, I think the team back then was very, very. When I joined, um, I had a lot of different people around me that I wanted to learn from. Now it's slightly different set of people, but still very, very interesting. And I think that, you know, the kind of mentorship that you need in your life is just someone that will help you to grow. I
Mm,
think it's extremely important, and I knew that in a tree tech I will find people like this to guide me through the Web3 world, and also guide me to the point of life that I am now. So like career wise, as but also as a human being. So I think also great projects that I can support and I can um, you know just be part of. So when I saw that Canvas was one of the projects that were developed and is still developed in Trilitech, I was like very impressed, because one of the very first projects that were kind of punchy to me is the Manchester United um,
oh, I see.
NFT.
I see you've got the shirt on right now.
Of
Very
course,
nice.
of course. So it's a lot of, I can take a lot of pride from this. And when I saw that, all right, so everything is developed in Chile, and I was like, all right, I want to learn from those people. I want
Mm.
to see how shaping of the Web3 world is happening right here, right now. So yeah, I think mixture of those things kind of lured me to Trilitech.
Well, it's pretty great that you've been able to find all of that with Trilitech in your approximately 1 year there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, in terms of what that year's looked like, what does a developer relations engineer at Trilitech do exactly? Can you walk us through a workday in the life of Beata Lipska?
Yeah, so first of all, I get a coffee. No, I'm just kidding. So every day is different. You need to adjust to the situation. You need to be very flexible. Sometimes it's a question of getting support for a very specific project. Sometimes it's solving problems that suddenly someone's got on Discord or something like that. But also being very creative. On daily basis, I'm figuring out, I'm creating a little backlog of the content that I want to create, because you know sharing knowledge in our world is crucial, and I think it's the most it's the best thing that I can give to other person, I don't know, starting the career or wanting to change the career from, for example, web 2 to web 3, or just teach how to become your own bank, for example. Yeah, it's it's a big challenge for people to live with like the internet, and let's say we're constantly online, we're constantly discovering new things,
Mhm.
and spending time on consuming content is uh, it's like a spending money. Yeah, and from my perspective, I want to create content that will bring a lot of value to different people, and my content is like for like let's say very technical people, but also for people that are not very technical, and for example, it's hard for them to understand the idea behind the NFTs, etc. Yeah,
Mm.
so I want to find the easiest way to explain things. So yeah, that sometimes I record like for a day or two, and then I look at myself and try to, oh my god, was it okay or was not okay? Planning, of course, is a big part of my job. Figuring out what would be the next big thing, and how to present it, but also writing code, because I know I told you that people and talking to people is my favorite thing to do, but I also love to code, and it's a huge passion.
Second
And
place.
yes, but it's also always second place. But still, the problem with me is that, all right, so then I talk to people, and then I teach, and then I do a lot of things, and then I miss coding, and this is like it's a craving, like it's a proper craving. I would just sometimes I just want to just sit down, turn on the music, and just code and make sure it works. It's such a satisfaction. It's like it is huge satisfaction, and then I can record it and share it with people. Yeah, so I think it's a must for me to have that balance between coding and very techy side of me, and that fluffy soft one that will talk for ages. So yeah.
It's interesting. I never thought about how enjoyable that process is for people. But you'd be
Yeah.
surprised how many people I talk to on this podcast who tell me that coding is their number one. They would rather be doing that than anything.
Hmm.
I was very surprised to learn that, but it's good to hear that people also look for a balance between that and other areas of their life.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard that there have been some changes in the developer relation role with Trilitech of late. How much can you tell us about the technical user relations team at this stage?
Okay. So it's TUR, and TUR is a goat. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's a very specific type of goat, and I thought like, all right, so this is a team of goats, a very very uh, amazing experts in very specific fields. Tor is our new technical team, and yeah, a technical user relations team, and I'm proudly part of it. And what can I share is that we'll have specific squads for specific areas. For example, my squad will be, of course, dedicated to developer relations.
Hmm.
But we will also have the bakers, dedicated people, and operators, and documentation. So I think we're just shaping it. We're shaping our ways of working. But what I envisioned is that we are the bunch of experts getting the best experience for the end users, especially for the tech users. Yeah, and I think that if we join our forces, we can do more. And having a strong team culture is also kind of spreading outside. So that's my goal and my role in this team, to create a very very strong engineering culture, but also a human culture. So we will support each other, we will support other humans on the other side of the monitors, and how to make their lives just easier. But also it is very aligned to the vision of Tezos X that probably we'll also talk about.
We will definitely talk about it. But before we do, can you explain the difference between the developer advocate roles that have existed in the past and the developer relations engineer role that you've taken on? Is it simply a different title, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the balance with the advocacy role is more about talking to people, being at hackathons, just let's say more advocating than coding. With the engineer role, it's way more balanced. So I am actively participating in development of, for example, new tools that I also want to introduce to the community, which I think we very much need, because I'm a simple person. I like using simple tools, and I develop simple tooling. So
I think most
I
people feel the same way.
Yes, but there's like a
Simplistic.
tiny percent of people that no, they do like overcomplicating and over engineering things. So I'm just like, I'm on the other far spectrum of that. So
That's fair.
yeah.
As you mentioned a moment ago, there have been a few recent developments and announcements that I'm hoping to get your thoughts on today. But let's start with Tezos X, which was announced at TesDev 2024. What exactly is Tezos X as you understand it?
I think my vision of this is far ahead, because we want Tezos to be a platform for people to be able to build easily on Web3. So it's like, for me, it's going to be like a AWS for Web3 developers. It's going to be like a different type of cloud. And for example, it doesn't really matter from which background you're coming from, if it's a JavaScript or whatever different language you can imagine. You can just tap into the ecosystem and just set up your idea uh, to be production ready in minutes, not days or months. It's going to be super easy, and for me, because I'm developer experience specialist, yeah. So my main focus is that developer experience, because if we want to onboard people, we need to okay, educate them, but create them a playground that they can just give it a go, give it
Mm,
just try it. um, of course, like, we need to provide them low level tools, but we need something more in between, to make it way more simple and quicker to implement, for example. So we're opening up to different um, let's say communities based on the programming language that they're using, or what they already know. For example, the EVM, yeah, and Etherlink. So we're opening up to this community with
mm,
JavaScript, with Justice. We're opening up to a huge JavaScript community, and that native experience that we're going to provide them, and allow them to use the tools that they already know. Um, we can tap into the huge ecosystem of, for example, npm. And I think this is very exciting. There's a lot of work, a lot of empathy that we'll need to have towards developers and builders around. But I think this is my vision of Tezos X, that we'll provide a tooling for
yeah.
people to just have fun, play around. Because, like, I remember when internet started and it was booming, and for example, people started creating forums. And there was like a very specific software to install a forum on your server. Yeah, and it was very easy to do, and people started just using it. And you don't have to be a developer, you don't have to be like a super technical person. You just install it and it works out of the box. So I think that sort of solutions we need to provide to different groups of people, letting them customize it, letting them play, like being playful around the product. But we need to be able to provide them low level tools and high level tools, and that's kind of my vision of Tezos X.
Okay. And it seems like making Tezos more accessible and appealing for developers is a big focus of the vision for Tezos X. And honestly, it seems to have been a big theme here in the Tezos ecosystem for some time now, based on the conversations that I've had. Exactly how important are developers to the overall growth and well being of this ecosystem, in your view?
The most important group of people for me. Of course, it's like, because we are the builders of the reality that we're living in, and to understand this, for example, I talked to my son, and there was one conversation that changed my point of view on how the virtual life exists in his point of view. So one of my colleagues, Efe, I'm saying hello to you. So I took my son to the Trilitech's office, and they had a conversation about gaming, because FA is in gaming part department, yeah, and my son really wants to create games, and he just got to the local college for game design, and I'm extremely proud, and I'm just trying to figure out his motivation. And his conversation with FA was um like game changer for me, because I understood how much value he's seeing in digital assets. So they
Mhm.
both play Roblox, and Efe asked him, "If I give you £20 in cash, would you be happier if I give it to you in Robux, which is the currency for Roblox?" And he said, "Imagine your mom is not listening." And then my son looked at me and he was like, "Of course, I would love to have Robux." And I was like, "Do you know how many breads you can buy with £20?" And this is my way of thinking, but it's not his way of thinking. He
Yeah, yeah.
values, those digital assets a lot. And don't get me wrong, I also buy items in my games because I'm a player too, and but I don't get attached to it that much. But he's seeing a lot of value in the games that he's playing, and this is
Whenever
the
people ask me to explain about why this technology matters and what how it's actually going to be used, I always tell, go talk to a 10 or 11-year old. They will
exactly.
explain to you exactly why this stuff is so important.
Yeah, and at school, why no one is teaching how to invest money, and why no one is teaching all those crucial elements. I'm not saying that teachers should teach children how to invest in Roblox, but in general, they are shaping the world that we're gonna live in 10, 20, 30
Mhm.
years, etc. And the way they think, we should be able to understand and give them the ability and the tools to shape it in the right place. And I think Tezos, it is a right place, because we don't have like super high gas fees. We don't have all those barriers, for example, for the artists to join, yeah. And we can create a communities based on NFTs that have the very low level entry in terms of like money wise, but it's still a very, very valuable assets. And for example, maybe I'm the generation that doesn't fully embrace it, but I learn, and I want
Mhm.
to give my son the opportunity and the tools that he will need in the future to live a better place.
Yeah.
I hope that world will be a better place because of what we're doing here.
It will. I don't know if it'll be good or bad, but it will definitely be different than what it is right now, right?
Of course, yeah.
Um, there were a few other follow-ups I wanted on that, but I think we're just due to time. We do need to
Mm.
still talk about Etherlink and Justice. So can we start with Etherlink? We've recently seen the launch of Etherlink's beta version on mainnet. What does that development represent in the quest to bring new builders and developers to the Tezos ecosystem?
Yes, so I think the EVM compatible smart rollup is very, very um, important for Tezos, because one of the barriers to get developers, of course, we have the smart buy and we have Lego. We are kind of aligned with um, creating smart contracts within those languages. But what about the solidity? And majority of the Web3 developers are Solidity developers, and I'm not saying that we want to steal them, but we want to give them an opportunity to just work with our ecosystem, because behind under the hood, it doesn't really matter what sort of background an artist have, yeah. But if they want to participate in ecosystem, they're part of it already. And if they want to onboard their art on our ecosystem, and having that barrier of like, but we don't kind of use the EVM, we need to get L1 compatible with the current marketplace, for example. It's a challenge sometimes.
Yeah.
And but now we don't have that situation. We can offer people to have that opportunity to keep their art on Tezos, but also give the opportunity to use the EVM compatible marketplaces that can integrate Etherlink easily. So it's a big step forward for us, and Etherlink is a great piece of tech as well. Yeah.
Awesome. There's also Justice, Tezos' JavaScript rollup, and that's also an important element of the Tezos X vision. And I've heard that it's something that you personally are very excited about. Can you talk a bit about why you feel like Justice is so important from a developer experience perspective?
Yeah. So yes, you are right. It's kind of my personal attachment to Justice is huge, because I presented it in during test dev, and I gave a live demo, and that was very challenging. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna show that it does work, and yeah, it's brilliant. And JavaScript is one of the um, programming languages that I love the most. And I remember when I started my journey with web development, I was 15, so it was a very long time ago. Trust me. And I was thinking, JavaScript, well, it's cool, but I don't know if it's gonna have the future. And then I saw that I was wrong, because yes, JavaScript is the biggest programming language now, and the amount of people actively developing on JavaScript and contributing to this beautiful ecosystem is in millions.
Mm,
I've seen some statistics. It was just around 23 million active developers worldwide, and it's crazy comparing, like, even so. I think it's not fair to compare the amount of Solidity engineers to JavaScript engineers, so I won't do it. But I think it's worth mentioning that we want to let them tap in natively to the Web3 world. And we don't want them to, learn new things. We want them to use JavaScript out of the box the way they used to in different projects. And it means that they can onboard the superpowers of blockchain
yeah.
quickly. And there's like loads of SaaS companies, loads of even the existing projects, big projects. They can implement blockchain, which of course like Tezos blockchain, very easily, very simple, and in the way they already know. So there is no
Mm,
learning curve. There is
yeah.
no entry barrier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they feel comfortable using it. It's not, yes, they're in a new ecosystem, but if the language is the same, they're able to feel comfortable making that transition, right?
Exactly. And like, because I remember when I worked as a software engineer, and sometimes I remember when we needed to transition from PHP to Golang, and I felt so comfortable in PHP. I was like, I could do anything. Of
Mm,
course, it was like my comfort zone, and going out of this comfort zone was challenging. And some of my colleagues were like, "Oh, no, I don't. I feel like I'm a junior again."
yeah.
And it's a good feeling to have. It's a great feeling to have when you're a software engineer, but sometimes people are not willing to take that time to learn new thing because
Yeah.
they're tired. There are many different reasons why. but feeling that uncomfortable at some point in your career is very challenging.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to avoid that. We want people to try something new without that time and energy spent on learning again.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. Um,
Mhm.
so this is all great stuff so far, and I'm excited to learn more. But before we dive into the nitty gritty, are you ready for the world famous TezTalks lightning round?
Hell yeah. Let's do this.
Great. Then it's officially lightning round time. Remember, there are no wrong answers. This is just for fun, so our viewers can get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Are you a night owl or an early riser?
Night owl.
Exercise or naps?
Exercise, then naps.
Chicken or fish?
Fish.
What's your favorite country to visit for a vacation?
Poland, of course.
Very nice. If you were elected king of the world, what's the first thing you would do?
I would give all the teachers across the world uh, like triple time the salary because they deserve
Beautiful.
it.
Beautiful. Name one thing you will never do again.
Go to very expensive restaurant, order a very expensive food because my taste buds are not ready for this.
Okay. Okay. What's the secret to happiness?
Communication. If you communicate with yourself and with other people, then you'll be happy.
Beautiful. Do you have any pets?
Yes, there's one here, like, yeah, my dog. Oh, he's gone.
And his name
Yeah,
is?
Appa, like the flying thing from the last Airbender.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
And finally, what is your favorite thing to do on a rainy day?
Record a great conversation with a great human.
Perfect. Those were excellent answers. This concludes the TezTalks lightning round. Let's get back into it. Now that we've talked about the larger vision for Tezos X from a developer relations standpoint, I'd like to zoom out a little bit and talk about the current state of the Tezos ecosystem in 2024 a bit more broadly. Tezos X is obviously a huge part of where Tezos is headed in the days ahead. So I'm wondering if I can get you to explain what your understanding of the larger Tezos X vision is.
Yeah. So from my point of view, as I mentioned, it's my vision. So it's also my vision. Of course, it's not only my vision, but I want Tezos to be, let's say, the new cloud. Yeah, the new type of cloud. So some I don't know, developers, business people, they can think about, oh, we can do it on Tezos, we can do it uh, on this platform. I want people to think about very technical side of Tezos X. So it doesn't really matter, like, because let's say we have a group of developers, yeah, and they want to create a very specific application that will do a very specific thing, and it's going to be using the superpowers of blockchain, and I want them to have all the tools that they need out of the box. So it's like the modularity within the ecosystem, and if everything works perfectly fine with each other, and all the pieces are talking to each other, and there is no downtime. The security, of course, this is like something that we already have, but the openness and the flexibility that we'll give to developers, I think is the most crucial, because justice, yeah, we're opening to a JavaScript developers
Hmm.
community. With Etherlink, we're opening to Solidity, but there's like way more there.
Yeah.
There's a huge group of people that are using different languages, are using, let's say, different applications, and we don't want to limit them. We want to meet all their expectations, and don't push them to learn new things,
Yeah.
just to implement things. So the journey, from my point of view, Tezos X is when you look at the journey, like the developer journey, yeah, from idea to production, yeah, and then scaling. So this is the developer journey. So we want to be able to speed up this journey from idea to production.
Yeah.
We want to be reliable. We want to be reliable resource on the scaling the project journey, because this is also one of the challenges, creating something, let people using it, let it live its own life. But there are huge challenges in scaling those projects, and Tezos X will help not only to scale up but be flexible towards any changes. So for example, the story I told you about PHP and transition to Golang,
Yeah.
those situations happens in the past in different companies. So we need to be able to provide the developers the possibility to switch from one language to another, and I don't know, switch from monolithic architecture to microservices architecture,
Yeah.
and that sort of things. That flexibility that the Tezos X platform will provide to people is very unique, and it's not stopping on JavaScript or the EVM compatible Smart Rollup. We're going deeper and deeper,
Yeah.
and we're opening to huge communities, and embrace the kind of pride of using, I don't know, Ruby or Golang. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody can have their own space within the Tezos ecosystem, and that's the beauty of Tezos X, in my opinion.
Okay. So clearly, you believe that providing tooling and solutions to developers is quite important to the ongoing growth of Tezos and its ecosystem. But it obviously doesn't end there. So how will Tezos X and all of the changes and growth that you're talking about affect the end user experience?
So, Stu, don't you think that we are kind of spoiled as a users? Like, you go to the shop and then it's like tap and then you pay, yeah. And I don't know, you want to watch something, you just click and then you watch it. You want to transfer money, you just transfer, boom, it's there, yeah. We are super spoiled, and it's milliseconds, and no one kind of think about, like, all right, well, what's under the hood, why it's so super fast, why it doesn't work like, I remember when we were sending money from one bank account to another, and it was kind of taking a day, yeah. And everybody, mm, I think, should think about, all right, what's under the hood and how quickly it's happening.
Mm.
And we live in instant world, and I think the tech that we have at Tezos um, will allow people to have the similar, like even exactly the same super fast experience with anything they want to do on blockchain, and that's the end goal. That we don't have to wait. People hate waiting. Like, I hate waiting. If I order something on Amazon, I want it to actually be next day. Yeah, or maybe immediately. I don't know. It's a human way of thinking. If I want to have something, I want to have it now, and I hate waiting. And I, especially when I'm doing something on my phone, etc., the tech is very, very spoiling us, and we want all the blockchain users to be spoiled the same way. And I think creating even more, let's say, complex structures under the hood to make the end user's life better is the way to go. And yeah, we have a very, very complex tech under the hood, but it's very efficient, it's very safe, and nearly free, like the Etherlink. It's a quote from Etherlink. So I think this is the way, and we can't avoid the future, like pushing people to wait, pushing people to have a different experience than like in Web 2 world.
Yeah.
But we can't do it. We can't afford to leave people in the limbo even for a second or two. It's
Yeah.
got to be fast. It's got to be reliable.
Well, you just reminded, like, a couple of weeks ago, I took my daughter to see a movie, and we got to the movie, and I'd forgotten my wallet. and I was at the counter. I'd ordered the popcorn and stuff, and I pulled up my phone. I realized I didn't have my wallet. I pulled up my phone and I was going on their website and trying to like order the food on the website so that I could prepay for it. And then the lady at the counter said, "Don't you have a wallet on your phone?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I do." And she showed me how to just tap my phone at the
Hmm.
till, and I knew it existed, but I've been like, "Oh, I'll figure it out later." But I had at some point something got me to put my information into that wallet. The wallet was there. I knew how to
Yeah.
access it, and just like that, I don't need to bring my wallet anymore, right? And it
Hmm.
was in that one moment I got over that hump that I've been avoiding dealing with, right? But I had been nudged along the path the whole way with all these little things to be ready for that moment, right? And
Yeah.
I feel like this this is what we also need to do with people, right?
Exactly, but look, think about the amount of infrastructure, or look about the amount of services under the hood to make it work, and
Yeah.
it make it work instantly. So with Tezos, I think this is the most important part, that we think ahead, that we think about the future, and we want uh, to provide the best user experience, either it's technical user or the end user experience possible ever.
Okay. Um, there, I have about a million other questions for you, but we are running short on time. One thing that I did want to get to, no matter what, is I've heard that everything your team is working on is 100% open source.
Mhm.
Is that correct? Why is keeping things open source such an important priority for you and your team?
Because we can't work in silos, and that's, if you're a solo player, fair enough, but you have your limitations. But as a team, we are stronger. We are, um, let's say, we can brainstorm, we can do things, but also we have only our own perspectives. But with the community of contributors, we have thousands of different perspectives and thousands of different skills. And once those people will contribute to the project, we can make it huge, we can make it better, we can make it way more flexible, more agile. And you know, having open source projects, I think that's the beauty of web development. And because okay, ownership is very important, but we cannot hide from the community. And that's my personal goal, is to have that element of engagement from people. And when I presented justice, because justice, I feel like I'm a godmother of justice, because I am promoting it, I am advocating for it since the beginning. And I'm very excited about showing people how to use it. And soon I'm going to produce more videos around justice, because I personally like using it,
Hmm.
because I'm extremely proud that the team inside Trilly, uh, huge kudos for you guys. You did amazing work, and I'm extremely proud to present it to people, to
Yeah.
show that it's a lot of hard work, and a very very complicated, let's say, thought process behind it. And then we can serve it to the community. But we don't stop there, we let them contribute, we let them play around it, we let them use what we it's a pure creativity goal.
Hmm.
Okay, you create something and then you let it go to for the people, for you don't get the credit for everything, because it's everybody's asset, it's everybody's input, and we all take credit from the beauty of the tech that we are creating. And look at
Yeah.
Linux, yeah, it's yeah, I think it's a great example. and what community can do with the project, bring it to the literally next level. It's just it's the pure essence of today's world. We live in the internet reality, and we can work with people from all over the world. Let them contribute. Let them create that reality. I know it's very idealistic and maybe utopian view for a very tech thing, but I do believe that the best things in life is the time is the energy spent on something meaningful,
Yeah.
and tech is meaningful for many different people. So I think the more open source we are, the better we are.
Okay.
That's it.
And finally, as a Tezos developer relations engineer, what is your call to action for the developers of the world today?
Build with Tezos.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think it's first of all, contribute to our projects, learn, have fun, play around, enjoy the ride, and
Mm,
that's what I would say to everybody. Join Tezos ecosystem. As you can see, there is a place for everybody, and I think bringing that power to you to change the world is crucial. Even if it's your side project, you can play around and have fun with if I link justice all our L1. Everything is, and the future is bright. So I think let's just enjoy the ride.
and if they would like support in doing that, I'm assuming getting a hold of you is a great place to start.
Yep, yep. So you can find me on Twitter. I mean X. But also I post a lot on Instagram. But it's a mixture of English and Polish stuff. So if you're familiar with my beautiful language of my motherland, feel free to join me on my Instagram. But for the professional side of things, X is the place to go.
And what's your handle on X?
Oh, it's Beatka Lipska. It's not Beata Lipska. It's my nickname, Beatka. Beata with K inside. I probably should change it because it is confusing. But all my friends and family call me Beatka.
Okay, perfect. As I said, I had a million more questions for you, and we could go on all day, but unfortunately, we're almost at the end here. For our viewers, if you'd like to get in touch with us, our social media contacts can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks. We'd love to hear from you. There's Beata's Twitter handle on the screen there right now. Beata, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always awesome to speak to the folks working behind the scenes to make Tezos the most appealing place in the blockchain game for developers and builders looking to realize their visions in the blockchain arena. Is there anything else you'd like to mention before we sign off here?
It was a great pleasure to speak to you. First
For
of
me as
all,
well.
yeah, yeah, we need to let's catch up.
Yeah, we can do it again down the road and see how much Tezos merch we can each wear. And yeah,
All right, challenge accepted. All right,
perfect.
thanks for having me.
My pleasure. To everyone out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on TezTalks Live. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guest has been Beata Lipska, Developer Relations Engineer at Trilitech. Now let's go see what the Tezos ecosystem has to offer developers in 2024.
All right.